Yes, a lot of Indian applicants are tired of Trump tantrums, H1B uncertainties, etc., that are going on in the US, and they are seriously looking at options in Europe for studying abroad. My own clients are applying to places like Germany, Netherlands, etc. But I want to do this video today because we don't know much about the job market in Europe, like exactly what's going on there, what's good or bad about it, what kind of challenges you can face. And I myself understand US very, very well, but I've been trying to update my knowledge on Europe, what kind of visa issues people face, how do companies hire there, what do they prioritize for, etc. So I did my own research, I talked to people, I looked at online portals, etc. I dug through all that, and here is my summary of like how is the situation in Europe. I'm also going to share a secret insight that I think can save you a lot of headache if you head to Europe. So all this on the other side of the intro. Keep watching. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Nishtha from Scholar Strategy and 24 North Star. It's getting pretty chilly here in Delhi and AQI is horrible, so I'm not really stepping out. Coming back to today's video, the point I'm trying to make is that, like, many people are thinking that they will just study abroad in Europe and figure out a good job and later on PR options there, but things may not be as straightforward as that. So it's important to go through some real stories and see what kind of challenges people are facing in these countries. So that's what I'm going to cover today, and we will cover some of the most popular destinations that Indians look at. Before I begin, if you're finding the information on this channel useful, please don't forget to subscribe. It really helps me with the YouTube algorithm. And if by the end you like this video, then please do hit the like button as well. Let me now start with the first country, which is Germany. And I know how popular of a destination this is, and even German ambassador and government is trying to make a big deal about attracting Indian talent because they know that Indian talent is looking for alternates to US. All that is good. I myself posted detailed videos on Germany, but let's take a look at the job market and the situation there. The first post that caught my attention is this LinkedIn post in which this guy is talking about how he knows 50 plus people with master's degree in Germany still job hunting for months. These are skilled, qualified, and hardworking people. And he's pointing out three things: that while influencers keep saying that there is extreme labor shortage in Germany, you can just do a master and find a easy job route there, things are not as straightforward. He's saying that shortages exist, but only in sectors like trades, healthcare, and logistics. Unemployment is rising, and companies are demanding fluent German skills plus some sort of local experience, even for entry level roles. And then somebody commented that even they know many people who are even fluent in German and they are also struggling for jobs. Then I started looking for more posts online and something on Reddit again. And this is, in fact, 1 year ago, some guy had posted. This is a guy with 8+ years of experience. He has already job hunted thrice in Germany. And previously, he used to find something within 2 weeks. But this time, since last 2 months, he has been looking for jobs. At the beginning, he was being selective, and now he's applying everywhere, and still he has got nothing. So this is a guy who has German experience, who knows how things work there, and even he is struggling to figure out a job right now. And by the way, this post is from 1 year ago. And then I looked at another interesting post in Germany, just to give you a context. This is 2 years ago, but an Indian guy asked that he has a salary of 44 lakh rupees in Germany, but he has an offer from Big Four in Germany with double the pay, almost like 1,000 euros. Now, should he move or not? And then if you read the comments on this one, it's very, very interesting. I found this particular comment to be relevant and interesting, and he said that 100,000 euros in Germany is actually a very good salary. It places you in almost top 5% of the people there. However, he did highlight that your wealth is not going to grow very easily in Germany, and many people are saying the raises are only like 5% or so, sometimes maybe not even that much. And cost of living and rents can be really high, especially in big cities. So you have to take all that into consideration. Overall, for Germany, whatever I've talked to people, I think the harsh reality is that knowing German is non-negotiable now. You have to know at least B2 level by the time you graduate. Overall, I think this post really summarizes the pros and cons of Germany pretty well. So language is non-negotiable, social life and cultural conditioning is very different from what we are used to in India. It might feel lonely to some people. Many people highlight bureaucracy or the paperwork required. So when you move there, you have to do a lot of paperwork, and some of it can really take time and a lot of back and forth, which can be frustrating. Other than that, yes, there are pros, there are cons, so do evaluate them. But job market, I just want to say, it's not as straightforward as sometimes we make it out from the online posts. Now let's talk about the second country, which is United Kingdom or UK. Now honestly, I have not heard from a single person that UK job market can work for Indians. I mean, if you leave apart Oxford, Cambridge, LSE, and some majors at Imperial, I think it's UK is just overall a very bad job market. And no wonder most of the people who are going to UK to study are actually coming from business families who don't care about finding a job as much. In terms of policy also, we are seeing an overall tendency to tighten the immigration policy. They are already talking about reducing the post-study work permit to 18 months, which is just 1.5 years. Now let's look at some real stories. And this guy posted about that he's struggling to find jobs on this post-study work permit, which is the PSW, which is equivalent to the US OPT thing right now. So he's not finding jobs. And somebody has commented here, as you can say, that like, when you try to job hunt, the first thing the employer asks is, do you have work rights in UK? And if you tell them that you would require a sponsorship later on, they drop out of the process. Only companies which go ahead with the interviews are the big MNCs like PwC, EY, KPMG, etc. Other companies, they don't want to get into the hassle of sponsorship. Now, even if you try to explain to them that I'm on this PSW where I can work without requiring sponsorship for 2 years, even then they are not comfortable, because they will say that, hey, we are looking for somebody for long term, we don't want to sponsor later on, etc. So this is a situation very similar to what's happening in US right now, that people, even when they have the OPT period where they can work without requiring H1B sponsorship, they are not finding employers that easily. So that situation is very parallel to US right now. And also now the problem with UK is that, like, overall the country is so small, the job market is much smaller than US. I explained this in the last video also. Apple hires around 150,000 plus people in US every year. They would hire only 8,000 people in UK. Apple pays a salary of $175,000 in US, but in UK their average salaries is around $75,000 only. So that's the drastic difference between US job market and UK job market. So UK, if you're thinking that I would study there, and because there are handsome scholarships out there, that's okay. But if you're expecting to find a job, you might get like a shock later on when you start your job hunt. And also, I think the threshold that you need to get those work visas in UK is around, the salary is £41,000, which is not very low. So yes, many people have pointed this out, that it's not easy to find a job in UK. So please keep that in mind. Now let's talk about the third country, which is Netherlands, because I sometimes hear decent stories about Netherlands, so I wanted to check out what's going on. So there are a few good things in there, and this is coming directly from one of my own clients who studied from TU Delft. And he said that, like, this is probably one of those countries in Europe where you can get work as well as PR without being very fluent in the local language, that is Dutch. So this is one of those countries where you don't want to learn the European language heavily and still want to build a career and life there, then that is possible in Netherlands. Another very interesting thing that he told me about Netherlands, and this was shared in our inner circle community, where we are discussing all countries and guidance for fall 2026 applications. So he mentioned that, like, Netherlands has something called a 30% ruling, a tax incentive for any student who has graduated from a university at least 150 kilometers away from Dutch border, but then later on they want to come and work in Netherlands, then they can get this tax exemptions, which exempts 30% of their gross salary from taxation for up to 5 years. So if you're graduating from universities like KU Leuven or TU Munich or ETH Zurich, Italian universities or something in Sweden, then you can come and try to work in Netherlands, and you can get this tax exemption as well, so which is a pretty sweet deal. But even if you're looking at universities within Netherlands, then TU Delft, etc., are very highly regarded. So this is a good thing about Netherlands. If you want to follow more such discussions and get some insider information, then please do join Inner Circle community. It's a private, exclusive community of masters applicants who are working with us. And I will leave the link in the description box below. Please check it out if you're interested. Now, if you're serious about Netherlands, I would say do also understand their orientation year system, which is known as Zoekjar. I'm sure I'm pronouncing it horribly. But yeah, so find out about that because it lets the recent graduates stay for 1 year to look for work. So that is kind of like post-study work permit. Another interesting and insider information here is, for example, somebody posted this on Reddit, right? That they were saying that they had 2 job offers when they were on this orientation year system. But they both of them were saying that we will try you out for 2 months, after which they would apply for the HSM work permit, which is the work permit in Netherlands. So this person was asking that is this the norm, and many people commented that yes, this is how Netherlands typically work. They will test you using contract work or something for a few months, and then if they're happy with you, then only they will be willing to sponsor your work permit. This is pretty normal in Netherlands. So if you face something like this is okay, and I think that's fair. Now let's talk about Ireland, which I know is a favorite of many Insta and YouTube influencers. But the thing is, whenever I've tried to find information on it, I have found significantly negative information as well, which I want to point out again. I covered these in detail in this previous video. You must check it out if you're seriously considering Ireland. It gives you a very good ground reality picture of Ireland. Now the problem is that, like, I think in Ireland for some reason there's a lot of hate against Indian surfacing in recent times. So there are a lot of racist incidences happening against Indians lately. Secondly, housing crisis, extremely high cost of living is what people are cribbing about. And lastly, people are saying that tech scene, which used to be the major attraction for Ireland, is not that strong anymore. Let's look at this post where somebody has said that IT job market is completely saturated. There's already way too many candidates, not just graduates, but also ex-employees looking for jobs in this field. So a growing amount of companies have been offshoring the activities to lower wage countries. So there are not that many job openings in Ireland anymore. So only go for it if you want to have a nice abroad experience, and then you're okay to move back to India afterward. But if you're expecting employment after your graduation, there's a big chance you will be disappointed. Apart from these issues, also I hear that there can be a lot of permit processing delays. So there's something called Ireland's Critical Skills Employment Permit, which you can get if you're graduating or targeting jobs in engineering, healthcare, etc. However, the paperwork and processing can sometimes take a long time, and employers might not be willing to wait that long. I think overall what's going on in Ireland is it's suffering from over immigration, something which happened in Canada some time ago. So there is a lot more supply of talent now than the demand for it. So consider it only and only if you have solid experience in tech, and you are going for a STEM course, especially something around AI, CS, data science kind of things. Now there's a verbatim quote online that I'm an Indian living in Ireland for past 8 years. Don't come here if you don't have solid work experience and have an excellent resume to back that up. Doing a postgrad here is no longer a guarantee for non-EU student to get a job. There's too many grads, and preference will always go to local and EU candidates first. So keep that in mind before you consider Ireland. Now let's quickly talk about Switzerland, because I mean many people are looking at ETH Zurich, EPFL this year. Especially I have some very talented research oriented folks in our own inner circle community who are applying there. Now Switzerland is great on many fronts, like cutting edge research and scholarship friendly. Of course, very high quality of living, very, very pretty, access to Europe and all those glamorous things you hear about Switzerland. But here's the harsh truth. It's not at all job friendly for Indian students, or for that matter for any non-Europe Union students, including those from UK. You can see the rant here from this Indian student in Switzerland. So he points out that the country has very good budget per student, but they are not letting them work in Switzerland that easily, and it's very frustrating. Like Everyone here, I pay a lot of taxes in Switzerland every year, and it seems like a waste of taxpayers' money educating clever people and then doing everything to send them back home afterwards. So I started digging in, and these are some of the problems that I see in Switzerland. Firstly, it's a high pay, high cost country with very strict regulations. And one of the things they take seriously is the quotas for non-Europe Union workers. So they cannot hire more than a certain number of international workers. Government is pretty strict about it. Even if you have graduated from Switzerland, if you apply for a job, the employer has to first show that they could not find a equally qualified Europe Union worker, and that is why they are hiring you. So this makes it very hard for employers to sponsor Indian students to work in Switzerland. Second problem is that language and local ties matter a lot. So in some parts you have to know Swiss German, in some parts you have to know French, etc. But the language dependency is higher than, let's say, Netherlands. Thirdly, it has a complicated permit system. There are work permits, B permit, C permit, etc. And it's not easy to understand. So as this commenter has said here, that special B permit applies to bachelor's, master's studies only, during which time you're not legally allowed to be gainfully employed more than 20%. And then PhD students can be employed full or near full time. However, depending on the university, that might count for B permit or C permit. Sometimes it may not count. There is confusion over that. So overall, it's a complicated system. You have to understand it carefully, and it varies between bachelor's, master's, and PhD, etc. So these are some of the issues with Switzerland. It looks like a great destination, especially for research-oriented folks, and there are some great universities. But the job hunt is not really geared in your favor. Now, there is an very interesting insight posted by somebody who has graduated from one of these universities in Switzerland. And I think this is the secret tip I wish to share about Europe in general as well. So as you can see, this guy is highlighting that let's compare two candidates. Option one is this guy does a PhD in a very competitive ETH Zurich, EPFL university. By the time they have their degree, they are only given this 6-month extension as a courtesy to look for jobs. In this time, potential employers still need to do a lot of paperwork, and they need to be able to sponsor you so that you can continue working in Switzerland, which has been very difficult. Option B is this another candidate who does a PhD in an arbitrary Europe Union based university. It does not even have to be competitive, he's saying. They are more likely to get a citizenship much faster than this guy in Switzerland. And by the time they finish their PhD, they can get the Europe Union's PR kind of pathway, which then lets them access the Europe Union job market, including Switzerland job market anyways. So this guy can then come and try to find a job in Switzerland much more easily than somebody who has graduated from Switzerland itself. This is the hack I'm talking about. If you really want to be in Europe, maybe you want to optimize for getting your EU PR first rather than optimizing for education, because once you have that EU work permit in hand, you can work in any of these countries much more easily. Your job hunt would be much more easily. So if you're very focused on job hunt, this is one hack or tip that you can use. But I would love to hear from you guys. What is the reality you are hearing about Europe? Have I missed out on something? Do you have insider information about any of these countries? Please do share in the comments so that other people can also benefit from it. So this was the status and some lesser known complications that I wanted to share about European job market. Let me know how you like this video. Do hit the like button and do tell me in the comments what else do you want me to post. So yes, Europe does provide an alternate to US, but it's not an entirely rosy picture. There are pros and cons. You have to evaluate for yourself whether this makes sense or not. So please do subscribe to the channel, and I will be posting more videos in here soon. So I will see you guys next week. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.